Hi, welcome back to It Figures. Tonight I'm going to be reviewing Sarah Connor from Terminator 2 Judgment Day. So this is once again a special edition figure from NECA. I've been doing quite a lot of these lately, mostly because I've just been overly impressed by what they've been producing. Even though I don't keep or collect these boxes, I really like the packaging here. On the back it gives you a description of the movie and sort of who Sarah Connor is, and gives you a couple different pictures and poses of the figure. So basically on the inside of the packaging you have one twisty tie holding her in. All the other accessories are basically embedded into the plastic, or they have a small piece of tape over the top of them holding them in. One more thing I want to say before I get to the actual review is after I review the figure, I'm going to compare it to the McFarlane figure that came out a while back and see how the new NECA one stacks up compared to the McFarlane one. Okay, this is absolutely 110% Linda Hamilton. There is no denying you look at this and you don't see Linda Hamilton there. I mean, it's just pretty much a perfect sculpt. Of course she got into amazing shape while playing this role, so I really give it up to NECA to show that in the figure. So let's start from top to bottom on this figure. Let's take a look at the hat first of all. I mean, look at the detail here. You can see every stitch within the cap. I mean, you can't get any better than that. Just a crazy amount of detail. And of course her glasses, which are not removable on this head, are also crazy amount of detail in them. So her vest, just like her hat, is also ridiculously well detailed. You can see every strap, every cord, every pouch. The back of it is even more impressive. I mean, check out the stitching there. So from her boots all the way up to the side of her pants, again, you can see the pockets, you can see the stitching, the fold in the cloth. All of it is just great. Here is also the back of her pants where she has two pockets. So next we move on to the paint. The paint here is practically perfect. You can see it from where her top stops to where her skin starts. There's absolutely no overpainting, overspraying, or anything. The same goes for her hat and her glasses and her hair. So let's move on to accessories. The first accessory actually comes on the figure, and it's her knife. It easily can be pulled out of the pouch. A little bit of close-up of this. It has a long string on the end, and it's very rubbery. There isn't a whole lot of detail on the actual handle. It's basically just brown. Next thing she comes with is her pistol. It looks just like a little mini pistol. Next weapon is the pump action. And this is really cool because it actually has a moving part. The top of it pulls back. But actually it is a little loose. But it's a great feature to have. Her final weapon is actually the sniper rifle. You can see every screw hole, knob, everything on here. And here is the other side. Now we actually have something which kind of looks really weird filming it. It looks like her head's floating out there. But we have alternate heads for her. So her first alternate head here is her ponytail without the glasses on it. And again, just the attention to the detail here is mind-blowing. And the other alternate head we have is Sarah Connor with the longer hair, which I would say is almost a flashback to the Sarah Connor from the first movie. So I just wanted to show you the figure with the alternate head on it. And I would say this is probably one of my favorite of the alternates. I mean, they could have just included a head where the hat and the glasses came off, but giving us an entirely new head is really nice. You can see the full head of the hair with the ponytail. And here is full Sarah Connor with her hair down. And actually this one ain't that bad. It looks really good on the figure. So I'm pretty impressed with this one actually. So let's take a look on how well she can actually hold her weapons. Her fingers are soft enough to where you can get the pistol in there. And what's really great about this is you can see her finger positioned right on the trigger. Because you have the one hand on the trigger and the other one is actually cupped underneath of it. So at last we have the sniper rifle. And again, the way they did the sculpt and the articulation, she can hold it and looks really, really cool. Again, NECA just continues to impress. However, this is one of the best figures from NECA I've seen in a long time. Everything from the paint to the articulation to the amount of extras here and guns and heads is just great. But now let's compare her to the McFarlane figure. So as I promised, here is the comparison between the McFarlane figure, which I believe came out in 2002, to the NECA figure, which came out I believe like a month or so ago. So let's take a look at the sculpt. So this is the McFarlane figure. I also have to point out that there was 3 different versions of this. There was Sarah Connor with the long hair, which is the one I got. Then there was one with the ponytail, and then there was one with the ponytail with the glasses on. And here is the NECA version. As you can see, the NECA is far superior in the face sculpt than the McFarlane figure. The painting of the McFarlane figure, it's very pale. It doesn't even look like a skin tone, while the skin tone on the NECA figure is dead on. So they're also both wearing vests, but the McFarlane figure vest, even though it does have some detail in it, it's very rubbery and bulky, and it doesn't really fit the character all that well. However, I will say the sculpt in the chest area is really good. I do like how they have the folds of the cloth, compared to the NECA version, which has very little folds at all within the chest area. And again, I can point out that the paint on the NECA version seems a little bit closer match than the bright green paint from the McFarlane version. One point that the McFarlane figure gets over the NECA version is she actually has a holster to put her gun in, which is really nice. I'm not sure why NECA didn't include it with their version. And instead of having a knife on the front, she actually has a knife on the back. Her pants are somewhat similar to the NECA version, but again, there's lots of folding going on within the cloth here. However, the NECA version, I think the folding of the cloth in the pants is a little bit more realistic. The McFarlane figure's head is not on a ball joint, it just basically goes back and forth. She only has one split articulation in her left arm, which is really weird. Her elbow does not bend. Same goes for her right arm, just articulation right at the shoulder, and of course it goes up and down. Her hand does move back and forth, but there is no bending at the elbow. Her waist just goes back and forth, and she has a single cut in both hips. No knee articulation, but her foot does rotate back and forth. As for accessories from the McFarlane figure, which I have, I think most of them, the only thing I'm missing is her glasses, which I believe came with this figure, and they're probably around here somewhere, but I don't have them right now. But here is the pistol that came with the McFarlane figure. Detail here isn't actually that bad, but compared to the NECA version, you can see the big difference. So here is the McFarlane sniper rifle, and this is actually pretty decent. You can see it has some really good detail to it, and it actually has silver painted in the scope. And here is the NECA version, which you can see they are very similar. However, the NECA version does not have silver in the scope, so out of this accessory, I would say that McFarlane won this one. And here is her knife that's in the back, which is kind of cool. It's not, great or anything, but it's completely different than the NECA version. And the McFarlane figure did come with one extra right arm, a straight version of it. So if you put these two right next to each other, you can really see the striking difference between the two. The NECA figure is, of course, so much well sculpted, but the McFarlane one isn't terrible. I think the skin tone of this is one of the worst things about it. It makes her look like a corpse. Her face kind of resembles Linda Hamilton here, but if you showed me her face without the body attached to it, I really don't know if I could say who it was. This one, I could definitely tell you who it was. Alright, so I hope you liked tonight's It Figures. It was a lot of fun for me to go back and look at the McFarlane figure, because I haven't looked at her in a long time, and compare it to what a new version of the figure looks like. So if you liked tonight's episode, make sure you please subscribe so I can see you next time.